can never understand why people in their right mind cut off family members because of politics. It honestly shows childish behavior for failing to have the capability of speaking with someone you disagree with. I've worked with plenty of hardcore liberals in a work environment setting, and I've gotten along with them just fine. Well, up until I hear them talking behind my back for having common sense, but it's simple math. Don't speak politics with them if they're incapable of changing their mind, and don't hang out with them. I have a sister that definitely voted for Kamala, but I don't speak to her about Trump, unless I feel like trolling her, of course. But my God, cutting off parents, brothers, sisters who you're raised with, in a way it's kind of evil for turning your back on them, and that's exactly what The View co-host Sunny Hostin is endorsing.
Whatever your reason is, I would never let my politics be the reason I don't show up to see my family, because they won't always be there.
I'm going to disagree. I completely understand her point.
Remember, this is the woman that believes in reparations, and she still deserves them after they found her ancestry lineage were slave owners. You shouldn't apologize for someone else's history. It's just a hilarious fact. She's just a hypocrite.
Because I really do feel that this candidate, President-elect Trump, is just a different type of candidate. From the things he's said and the things he's done and the things he will do, it's more of a moral issue for me. And I think it's more of a moral issue for other people. We're just,
Well, it's a moral issue for me to vote against the trans ideology that has profited $100 million off of 16,000 mentally incapacitated children. But what do I know?
I would say it was different when, let's say, Bush got elected. You may not have agreed with his policies, but you didn't feel like he was a deeply flawed person, deeply flawed by character, deeply flawed.
So George Bush was able to let his vice president profit off of the Iraq war through his previous company he worked at that sold oil drilling parts to our enemies.
Flawed in morality.
Like a lot of Dems called him deeply flawed and humanized him.
But you got to admit, they're very different figures. I mean, you along with Milley and along with John Kelly warned us about how deeply flawed he was as a candidate. And so I think when people feel that someone voted not only against their families, but against them and against people that they loved, I think it's okay to take a beat.
Okay, maybe tell them to take a hike if they murdered someone, but let's ask them why they voted for that certain candidate. I'll ask a Kamala supporter why they voted for her, and they'd give an answer that was in good faith, like, I don't want the government to control our bodies. Now, that is a completely flawed argument and shows a lack of understanding on abortion, obviously, but the intention was good at least. I just recognize they are manipulated to make them believe that issue is equivalent to the women's suffrage movement or something. I would never cut anyone off for that, but cutting family members off is now a trend.
So last night, I told my mom and dad that because they voted for someone who wants me dead, that they no longer have the privilege of having their daughter and their granddaughters in their life. And I told them, never contact me again. I'm never calling you. I want nothing to do with you. And take me out of the will. I have a younger brother who is also a MAGA. I said, when you guys pass away, give him the entire house. I don't want to inherit your house. I don't want anything from you. I don't want to hear from you ever again, because I'm no longer safe being in a relationship with you, because I'm queer, I'm autistic, I'm like half disabled, I have Lyme disease and POTS and a bunch of other shit, and I'm bisexual. I have 2 daughters, and my husband's also bisexual. It's like...
It's funny because Trump was the first president that supported gay marriage. Go back to the 2008 debate. Biden and Obama were against it. No Republican wants the LGBT community to die. Most of our positions is that the TIAQ plus side of things is a separate ideology and needs to be dealt with a psychologist. And yeah, the LGBT community isn't without its mental flaws, being that 80% of that community has dealt with some form of abuse as reported. So in my opinion, whether you're in that community or not, is not because you were born with that, but because of your life experiences. But that would be seen as a crazy position, but check it out. I put a great amount of thought in my positions, and some things aren't as crystal clear as you might think.